Hello and welcome to another episode of Pilots React. Today we have a situation that actually happened at a fly-in I was at last week, where an incident occurred that gives us a good opportunity to analyze an entire accident chain and what went wrong, what went right. Thank God both people involved were uninjured, so this is a good one to analyze without having any tragedy, except for a beautiful 1940 Cessna 140, which met its demise, likely demise. We'll let you be the judge of that from the pictures. Let's take it away. So, Todd, any thoughts before we show this video?
Yeah, just for the non-flying general public, what is a fly-in? Because that is a terminology that some people might not be used to.
Sure thing. So a fly-in is like a car show, track meet, barbecue. Could be anything, but usually it's planned at some smaller airport, just a time and a place where people are going to come in, get to show off their airplanes, get to talk to other pilots. This one was actually a camp out as well. So we flew into a small grass runway, a 2,000-foot grass runway in Connecticut, called Mount Tobe, a absolutely lovely little airport. RAF field as well, so they have provisions for camping and some really nice accommodations. A beautiful 2,000-foot turf runway that's got a cross runway that's about 1,700 feet. I think I don't use that one with my Tiger. 2,000 is still pretty tight with the Tiger. So a fly-in is an opportunity for pilots to get together, often make bad decisions.
You mean drink beer?
Things. There was beer drinking around the campfire. I most definitely did not see anyone drinking beers during the day or anyone flying with after drinking. But still, we had an incident during this fly-in because of decision making. And hopefully, folks, if you're planning on attending a fly-in, you can avoid some of the traps. There's ego traps. There's all sorts of traps at fly-ins that can burn you. So let's roll the video, and then we can talk about the accident chain and what went wrong.
Okay. Oh, bummer. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. So first off, is anyone hurt?
No. Luckily, both occupants were uninjured. I did not witness this happen. The video was sent to me after the fact. I had actually just landed at my home airport, and I got that video. So before we get into this, I would just like to say this is probably still being investigated by the FAA. What I'm going to relate in terms of the sequence of events are what I've heard. I'm not going to claim any of this is 100% factual. So I could have gotten bad information from people. So we should wait for the NTSB to conclude their investigation. But based on what I saw, what I heard, and what that video shows, I think it's very much worthwhile for people to understand the sequence of events and how to avoid them.
Okay.
So that what we saw there was a failed aborted takeoff. So it was a failed takeoff in that he was never able to climb. He then touched down, and only when he was within a couple hundred feet of the end of the runway did he try to abort the takeoff. You hear the engine go back to idle. And then the airplane is basically going too fast for him to stop it before it overran the runway. Luckily, the airplane impacted a short telephone pole fence that took all the energy and resulted in the airplane flipping on its back rather than continuing through and striking cars and possibly
Oh,
people who were getting into
I,
those cars at the time.
I couldn't tell from the video because when it crashed, I couldn't tell if it was hitting something at the end or not. So here it looks like it's bouncing. Right there. It bounces a couple times. It bounces a couple times. Then I heard the engine quit. And then towards the end, I thought it fell into a ditch, like right about here.
No,
you know what I mean?
it looks like that. So at the end of the grass runway, there's a road that separates the runway from the parking area. And at the threshold of the runway, there's maybe 3-foot high telephone pole sections that form a fence,
Gotcha.
but they're only 20, 15 feet apart. So luckily, this airplane found one of them. I'm saying that because that was a spinning propeller going into an area where there's cars. You had a high possibility of a fire.
Okay.
And that would have made things 100 times worse. So
what happened here? Why did he first abort? Why did he? It seems like he's jumping up on the grass strip and not getting airborne. And it seems odd. And then aborting without enough runway to stop properly. There's a lot of whys here that I have, a lot of questions.
Indeed. So let's start 2 days before Friday. I flew in and I saw this beautiful Cessna 140 meticulously restored, just really a beautiful airplane. It was there. I believe I met the pilot. I didn't speak to him, so I can't really say anything about the pilot himself. What I heard was the pilot flew in on his own with his dog. So
Okay.
one man, one dog. And then I heard the airplane had full fuel. So right there, that's probably the first link in the accident chain. Well, actually, I'll make the argument the first link is going to a fly-in. That I think every pilot should consider when you go to a fly-in. One link in the accident chain has snapped firmly into place. And
Gotcha.
hopefully that will make more sense as we talk through this situation.
Okay.
So he flew in full fuel, him and his dog. No issue. The airplane, fine landing. Now the airplane sat there all of Saturday. Now Saturday, we were up and down. Everyone is taking their planes out. We're giving rides. We're flying. There's all sorts of cool airplanes there, from 1930s, like pre-war trainers, to jet helicopters. A single seat turbine jet helicopter was there. A Eurocopter was there. So all sorts of really, really cool aircraft, over 50 aircraft, and all landed, took off safely. There was a lot of kind of hot rod flying going on, which is another thing that you can expect at a fly-in, that people might push their limits. A lot of people are watching, a lot of cameras are going.
That can encourage thus the ego issues.
Exactly. So there you go. You've got ego that can really come out and bite you, even if you're a very safe pilot every other day of the week. Get some cameras on you, get a crowd waving. Yeah. So there was some really low high speed passes. There were smoke on passes, which were really cool. Aerobatics.
Aerobatics. So that surprised me.
There were aerobatics. I saw a few.
Don't you need a waiver to be something like within 1,500 feet of? It's been a while since I've been in GA and aerobatics, but I remember you needed a waiver near the public or something.
Yeah, these were conducted high. It looked the only loops I saw performed were high enough that I don't think that there was any violation. So there was some, I'd say, kind of hot dog flying, but not really. Nothing that seemed very unsafe. So Saturday, everyone's flying. I never saw this Cessna 140 fly, so I can only, as long as the information is correct, this airplane had full fuel when it landed, and nothing
Okay.
got burned off during the day on Saturday.
And I'm guessing because you're mentioning that now a couple times that I don't know much about this, Ben, so I'm asking a 2,000-foot strip in grass. I'm guessing you need pretty good performance out of there, but is a full tank in a what is it, Cherokee 140 you said?
Oh no, so this is the 1940s Cessna 140. A Cessna
1940
140.
Cessna 140. Okay.
Yeah, it has a
Is that
Continental C85 engine. So it's an 85 horsepower, 2-seat tube and fabric. It might have a metallized wing. I'm not sure.
okay?
So it was actually the 140 is metal. It might have a fabric wing though. I don't recall whether this one had the fabric or metal wing.
Okay.
But it's a 2-seat aircraft, low power, a lot of wing, a good airplane. So he was there for all of Saturday. The aircraft didn't fly. I left because the weather was turning. There was some rain.
Okay.
The rain definitely made that grass a little slicker. You can see in the video that it's overcast now. It had been sunny and lovely, but the weather turned on Saturday. So that's why I had left. It was drizzling, and that's going to also decrease your takeoff performance. The wet grass is stickier than dry grass, and he had elected to take a passenger up. And from what I was told, these were two large adults who got into the Cessna 140. And here's where things really fall apart. So you've got a few links in the accident chain already in place. You're out of flying. You flew in with full fuel. You've now not burned off any more gas, and you've put another person in the airplane. So
exactly.
If
and now, one second, Ben. Do you know anything about this person where he's tried to even depart this field before? Like, do you know his history at all? That where he knows his plane with an 85 engine horsepower can actually get out of a 2,000-foot field that's wet and grass?
So I understand this pilot has been at this same fly-in for the last like 3 years. So I'm assuming it was with this same aircraft. So he likely has done this multiple times. He's based out of New York. I looked up the aircraft registration.
So he's familiar with the field.
Yes. So I would assume he is familiar with the field, but it had started raining. He had flown in with full fuel. I mean, speculating. Heavy. And now he's put a second large adult in this airplane. I mean, none of this is terrible decision making yet, as long as you're still within the weight limits. I don't know what the weight of the aircraft was with fuel and the two people. If he was within the weight limits, I could completely understand him thinking he was going to get out.
Gotcha.
So then they taxi out and they attempt to take off, and he aborts that takeoff. That was not in the video. So there was an aborted takeoff prior to the incident in the video.
So this is second time around with two passengers as well. It's two
people. Yeah, pilot and passenger, 2-seat airplane. So that is where this went from. This could have been okay. The decision making could have been perfectly okay. The second that airplane did not take off and the pilot elected to try again without reducing his weight.
So I have to bring this up, Ben, if you don't mind. Do you mind if I play a video and ask you a question about this?
Go ahead.
Okay, so now it's been a long time since I've been in GA, but if I look right about here or soon after, right there, right, he's airborne. He is airborne right there. Now, generally, on a soft field, grass field, you would go into ground effect, stay right there for a while, get some acceleration, correct? Is that roughly accurate?
Exactly. Yes. Soft field, short field technique is to get the airplane airborne as soon as possible and then let it accelerate in ground effect.
So, but to me here, it looks a little confusing because it looks like he's keeping a high angle of attack on his wing. And if I play a little forward, he Okay, yeah, maybe he did put the nose down a little bit.
It looked like it settled. I mean, look, the elevator's up. The elevator's
Yeah.
up. This is classic for an underpowered airplane attempting
Okay.
to climb and not allowing proper airspeed to develop first.
Okay.
So I don't think that airplane was going to fly with that much weight, and I don't think that airplane was going to fly in that configuration. Yes,
How about
you can.
85 horsepower?
Exactly, 85 horsepower. I mean, I've got 180 horsepower. It's a heavier airplane, but I've got 180 horsepower. And before I gave any rides for the day, I took off on my own, made sure that I used much less than half the runway to become airborne,
Okay.
and had hundreds of feet of margin over the trees before I even brought people up for a ride.
Makes sense.
So in this situation, giving it a takeoff attempt when you're at maybe max gross and the numbers say you're going to be okay, that's why we have books. Now these books are from the 1940s, so can we assume the aircraft performance is the same as when it came out of the factory in 1940? I don't know, but giving it a try, a takeoff attempt is okay.
Why'd
Have
you
your
do it twice?
limits planned, and he aborted it the first time around safely. So there was no mistake as long as he was within max gross, within the envelope. There was no mistake there.
So
The
why would you
mistake
do it a
was
second time?
the mistake was trying it again without changing something major. Get the passenger out, take off on your own, make sure, because now the grass is wet,
Burn some
and
gas.
burn some gas. The grass is wet, and there was no headwind anymore. Earlier in the morning, there had been a headwind, so we're getting great performance taking off on southbound. So things change, and this situation could have entirely been prevented if he had listened to that just miraculous warning of, oh, my airplane's not climbing. I aborted and I'm safely back on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, you're safely on the ground. You should stay there until you are very, very confident that know you're going to get up safely.
Yeah. Did you ever feel, Ben, unsafe taking off out of there? You've been there before as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
In this flying, in this particular one?
Yeah. So this one, I've never felt unsafe. I've gotten a little bit of a pucker factor when I've landed there with two people in the airplane, where I used all of the runway,
Okay.
and you're talking about grass. So I'm always really kind of timid on my brakes. So I stopped within like a couple hundred feet of the end of the runway with not extreme braking.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's a 2,000-foot runway, which some airplanes need 50 feet. And the Super Cubs, they couldn't care less. They could have taken off and landed 3 times in that field.
Yeah.
My Tiger, no, you have to you have to have your speeds really good. You have to have your approach good. You have to have everything really, really careful. And from looking at that Cessna 140, less performance than my Tiger, and paid for it.
Yeah. It looks like he paid for it dearly. Okay. So it looks like aeronautical decision making needed to be improved here on the first after the first attempt to stop the continuation of the flight, and it wasn't. And now the investigation is going on. All right.
That's what I hear. So I can't attest to the veracity of any of those statements. Just this is what I heard from folks who were there when this incident occurred. And one other thing I wanted to point out was so when the engine went to idle in that video, that's well beyond 3/4 of the field. So
he aborted late too.
Oh, it was incredibly late, late. And still there was one more out that could have resulted in a better scenario, especially with a tail dragger. A purposeful ground loop likely could have saved his engine, likely would have caused damage to a wingtip, maybe to the engine. But this airplane, that from what I hear, the fuselage is accordioned. So the impact with that pole totaled this airframe. And in a situation like that, especially in a tail dragger, if you're running out a runway or you don't like what you're going to hit, peg the rudder, step on the rudder and the brake if it has a brake, and loop that thing. Like, you're going to go for a ride, but you're not going to die. And these guys, they could have.
And you all know that there were hard objects at that end where he reached the telephone poles. You all know that. Like, it wasn't a surprise to him that he hit something at that moment in time, right? He knew something was coming up.
If he hadn't hit those poles, he would have been hitting the cars. And so there was there's no reason to get that close to the end on a takeoff. You should never get that close to the end of a runway on a takeoff. You should be 100 feet in the air at least or something. So just really, really unfortunate decision making that totaled a beautiful airplane that was, its lives are irreplaceable. Airplanes are also irreplaceable. So it's too bad. But thank God both of them were okay. From what I heard, they were walking around and hanging out after the incident. So
that's when they need a beer.
Yes. So I hope the pilot involved, learns from this, gets back in the saddle, finds another beautiful airplane to restore, or and this can be put in the past. And I hope that anyone else who's considering going to fly-ins can learn, make good decisions. Fly-ins are a lot of fun. They're also statistically very bad for incidents because of all the things we talked about. Ego, mostly ego. That's our worst enemy as pilots.
Yeah. Check your ego at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Okay. I appreciate that the insight, and thanks for bringing us to the fly-in with you.
Sure thing. Thanks, Todd.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.